you're going to ask?
Okay, I'm here with David. David's from Automated Laundry. There we go. And David is just installed our brand new Electrolux, and that is a
T5290.
2590 machine. And of course, if you want service, just call David right there at that number. And so David's going to talk to us a little bit about this machine. David, what kind of, what size machine is this?
It's a 35-pound dryer.
35-pound dryer.
35-pound dryer.
So if you're going to put clothes into it for drying, about what size of, what amount of?
The washers are 30 pounds, so anything that would come out of the washer is about 30 pounds. So it's got a couple extra pounds of capacity to meet the standard of a washer.
Okay, so then you could put that same amount in there.
Yep.
Okay, so tell us about the operation of the dryer. What is it that we need to know about this dryer?
So it's pretty simple. Throw your clothes in, close the door. You have a high, medium, and low setting. So there's high.
Okay, so wait a minute, let's have a look at this. So you get your, how do you get to the high setting?
So the high setting will usually come up first. When it after a cycle is completed or you open or close the door, the high setting will come up first.
Okay.
So you have a high setting, and then you turn the dial right or left, doesn't really matter. Medium, low, and no heat. And then, so let's say we want high, we just scroll back to high, you press the start button, the dryer will start to turn on, and then you check to turn the time, to add or subtract time, turn the dial. It goes up in 5-minute increments.
So you need to wait until you turn it on to adjust the time.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and then it'll adjust in 5 minutes. So typically, after you have run a load through the Wascomat machine, about how much time do you need inside this particular dryer?
Depends, about 30 minutes, so it's rough. On a high setting, 30 minutes. It depends on what you're doing. Towels may be a little quicker than linens, like bed sheets and things like that. So it's kind of based on preference or what you've already been running in the other machine. But typically 30-35 minutes.
So let's talk about towels. So if I'm drying towels, how long would you suggest I dry towels at?
About 30 minutes.
30 minutes. And then what about sheets? Let's say we've got some double sheets.
About 25, 30 minutes, depending on if it's a 30 pounds worth of sheets, you can do 30.
Okay, and then let's say we're putting in some resident clothes. What would you put those at?
15, 20 minutes.
15, 20 minutes. So let's say we pulled out 30 pounds of resin clothes out of the washer, put them in here. You think about 15 minutes?
15, 20 minutes.
15, 20 minutes, which should be adequate then.
Yep.
Okay, and then...
Plus or minus, you may have to add 5 minutes to it or whatever, but it should get real close.
So...
completely bone dry. You want to leave a little bit of moisture in there.
Okay. So if you set the timing correct, then it should shut off by itself?
It'll shut off. It'll stop heating. The machine will stop heating, but it'll continue to tumble the clothes, so it doesn't. It's an anti-crease or an anti-wrinkle, so it'll continue to tumble for a little while longer in the cool down cycle, and then it'll keep doing that until you open the door. Pretty much, it'll do it forever. So at the end of the day, make sure the door has been opened and close it again if you're leaving a load in there that's still running.
Okay, so an important thing to remember about this machine is that so when you set the timer, that's going to control the heat. Correct? And the gas, how much gas you're burning.
Yeah, so it depends. High, medium, and low is going to be the gas. No heat, it's not going to use any gas, it's just going to tumble the clothes with air circulating through it. So like a high setting, you're going to use a little more gas, but really at the end of the cycle it won't heat anymore.
Gotcha.
It'll just do a tumble to keep it from wrinkling or creasing, and it'll just blow cold air through it, pretty much room temperature air through it, until you open the door or hit stop or pause.
But the key thing to remember about this machine is in order to stop the machine, you've got to come down here and open the door in order to disengage the tumbler and stop the machine. Otherwise, it continues to roll.
It'll continue to do an anti-wrinkle.
Okay, very good. Okay, so let's talk about the filter then. You got the filter?
Yep. So
filter's down here.
Just turn it off.
Let's go by. Do that again. I didn't catch that. So You're going to turn it to the
knob,
turn it to the right. Okay.
Just fold it down.
Folds down.
And you pull your lint screen out.
Pull the lint screen out.
You can pull it all the way out.
Pull it all the way out.
You should be able to just kind of wipe with your hand.
Yeah.
Lightly. Throw it in the trash can.
Okay.
Good to go.
Okay, so David, how often should I replace that lint screen? How often should that be?
Until you see holes in it. I mean, really, those things can last a long time. As long as a stiff bristle brush aren't used on, you're just kind of using your hands to wipe off the lint. You shouldn't put holes in it. Eventually they'll wear out, but it takes a long time for those to wear out.
Okay, so you shouldn't use a brush.
No.
Only your hands?
Use your hand only. Yep.
Okay, all right, so that's something important to remember. And then where else will lint accumulate in this machine? Where else have you found lint?
In the bottom panel here.
Bottom panel, okay, that's
So,
down here, okay.
Yeah, which I already reminded maintenance. There's just the 3 screws here.
Yeah,
It's a T20 Torx. You pull those out. You open your lint drawer about halfway,
yeah,
and then this panel lifts up and away. There's 2 pins that hold it in just in
so
place.
you lift up and away.
Mm-hmm.
And so how often should you inspect that bottom panel?
Quarterly.
Quarterly?
Quarterly, yeah.
Do a quarterly inspection, and how much lint would you expect to find in there with daily use?
Daily use, and if you're doing it all day long, like almost a 24/7 operation, I mean, I check it after a month. You kind of get into okay, a month, there's not much in there, or a month, there's a lot in there, we need to clean it sooner. But we just go off a quarterly just because that's how we do a regular maintenance schedule on our equipment at least.
Okay, all right. All right, any other issues or concerns to be on the lookout? Are there any sort of special noises or any other sort of signs and symptoms that the operator should be on the lookout for that might suggest?
Any scraping noises, like sounds like nails on a chalkboard, or kind of a vibration, a high vibration noise, like the whole machine just kind of like kind of rattles. Typically, back under here, the blower fan's in the back.
Okay.
So lint sometimes, if it's not cleaned often enough, lint will accumulate on the fan, throw the fan out of balance, and then it starts to cause a vibration. Scratching noises, stuff stuck in the holes of the basket. They'll get in here and then they'll scrape the outer drum, which is not good. You can put a hole in it. So emptying pockets and things is necessary. You don't want sharp objects, screws, nails, screwdrivers, anything like that, anything sharp or pointy to go in those, or small enough to go in the holes, because they will get stuck. They'll scrape up the outer drum, but also if they get caught enough, because the machine won't stop, so it'll get stuck and you can actually bend the middle of the drum too, so the basket itself.
So that could be a pretty big problem.
Yes, it
Are there belts or other types of systems inside the machine we should be concerned
but
about?
they're mostly internal, so it's probably recommended to call us if the drum stops turning completely. It's probably recommended to just call us and have us do it, because to replace the belt, we're going to have to pull the drum out to do that. The blower motor, that's kind of on its own. It's just a motor with a fan attached to it. So that could be, like I said, that could be cleaned right from the front if need be.
So how often do the belts typically, do you see them being changed?
I mean, as long as there's no interference, which there usually never is. I mean, I've seen them run for 10 or 15 years without having to change them, but it all depends.
Right.
As long as it's not overloaded, you really shouldn't have too much of a problem with the belt.
Okay. What about the motors? How often have you seen the motors get changed? How often do those motors need attention?
Again, I mean, the only thing that needs to be done besides maintenance under here, to pull the back panels off, and you'll see there's 2 motors right on top of each other, one on top, one on bottom, and there's a fan on the back side of it that cools the motor. Those will have to have vacuumed out and lint removed from those, because lint will accumulate sometimes back there on those fans, and then the motor starts to overheat and it degrades the motor. Eventually, over time, the motor will go out.
So let's go back and have a look at where
pop the panel off.
where would we see those at? They're back here?
Yeah, they're back here.
Once you put your finger on where we would.
So it's on their fan. The motors are on this side.
Okay.
But
so
on the bottom section.
You're going to take that panel
You're
off
going to
there?
take this panel off and this panel off. It's 2 separate panels.
2 panels? Mm-hmm. You're going to take both panels?
Take both panels off. And then down there is a motor on this side up on top, and the motor right beneath it.
Okay. And
Two
then,
fans, a fan on each one.
so what are you going to do? You're going to kind of basically take the take a little. You're going to take a little
Shop vac.
little shop bag.
Shop vac, vacuum out the lint and down on the bottom of the compartment. You know, around the motors, get as much lint as you can. Up top where the burner boxes, just anywhere you see lint, you want to get up the big chunks of it. You're not going to get everything, but I mean, you can try. That's
Any risk of ignition of fire associated with this machine?
no lint accumulation. There's a possibility of it. That's with any dryer though. It's not this particular model. So just keeping it clean, keeping the lint vacuumed
Okay.
up, you shouldn't have an issue.
So if there was ignition of fire, does this machine automatically shut off or shut the gas off? Or
It should, so there's thermostats in the machine. It should shut off automatically if it senses it getting too hot. So it will shut the machine down. It'll shut the gas off. It'll pretty much shut everything off. It will do everything but put out a fire. So it doesn't have any kind of water safety system to where in case of ignition it'll shoot water into the drum or anything like that. So
Okay.
it will shut down, but it'll be pretty obvious.
Okay. Anything else the day-to-day operator should know about taking care of this machine or using this machine safely and properly?
So with the door, don't let it swing or bang all the way open. These hinges can break really easy. So you want to, keep it close to you, or stop it at a certain point, but out of the way of anybody walking by it or bumping it, or obviously don't push any further than the door opens. So just making sure, being aware of where the door is at, don't force it in any way. Cleaning the lint filter, check it after every load, same as any other dryer. And you kind of get in a repetition. Maybe you could do 2 loads and then have to clean it, but just pull it out and check it and make sure it's clear of lint about for every other load, or every load, I'm sorry, until you kind of get in a repetition.
Very good. All right, David, thank you so much. You've been great, really helpful. I've learned a lot today, and hopefully everybody that's working on this machine here at Dayspring Village will take care of it and enjoy working with it. Thank you so much, David.
You're welcome.